I'd like everyone to chant with me at least once. I know it's after lunch, but you got this. I mean, who else is standing up here with a CubeSat on their skull? Not you, me. Okay, so we're gonna do a little hack space together. So let me hear a hack space! Oh, beautiful. I didn't even have to do it twice. You guys are awesome
perfect.
sauce. And I'm very honored to be here today. And Spanky, take it away.
What if I told you there are others out there? They're just like you. They want to make contact with you. That's my best Morpheus. I'll stop. Folks like you that have an interest in space, that have an interest in cybersecurity, either because you know it really well and you want to keep doing these things, you know it's important, or you want to learn about it as a student, right? That's why we're here. And clearly, neither one of us is Morpheus. We don't have any pills to give you, but
I'm taking the red one.
if it comes up, we know that. But it's that shared interest. So we're going to start off. Over to you.
I'd like to introduce Steve Luczynski, or AKA Spanky,
Oh, we're gonna go backwards.
partner in crime with me. We are the Aerospace Village. Now, we already practiced once. Let me hear it. Aerospace Village! Aerospace Village! Woo! That's what I'm talking about. I'm very honored to be here today to talk a little bit about Steve first and what kind of cool stuff that we do. First, airplane pilot, but you have to put the word fighter in front of it first. That makes it BA, and I won't do the acronym because there's some children in the room. But really, really cool guy that does a lot. With the Aerospace Village, he runs the joint, I like to call it. And some of his cool things that he likes, adult beverages on the lower right, or my left, I can't see that far. Also, such a great human and trying to get the word out and outreach for Aerospace Village. And again, love to be on stage with you and honored.
Thank you.
Spanky.
I appreciate that kind introduction that we practiced and did not write down in any way, shape, or form. More importantly, also, I get to introduce my friend Henry. We've spent a lot of time. We're not the only ones in the village. We are part of the Aerospace Village. But in that group of volunteers, we get folks like Henry in there, who, a hummingbird on caffeine, you may have detected already. I'm going to read this because I don't want to screw it up. He is a Cal Poly and Indiana University professor, lecturer, and technical advisor. In his spare time, he's the director of technology at the Coast Unified School District, and he's part of the Interplanetary Special Interest Group with Vint Cerf. I didn't know half of that, and I work with him all the time as a volunteer. I know he's a consultant, a mentor. He used to play guitar in a punk rock band. Huge surfer, cool dude, and one of our volunteers. So Henry Danielson up here with me. Very happy to have him here. So have no doubt, as we're talking through these things, we take what we do at the village and the topics that we're going to talk about very seriously, not ourselves. Not everybody wears orange pants and a CubeSat around all the time. But we're going to take you through our presentation. We'll save plenty of time at the end, and we'll want to make sure we get your questions and as we go from there. So off we go. I mentioned it up front, what it is, why are we here today? We have that shared interest, space and cybersecurity. We want to learn about it, whether you're brand new to it or you want to learn about it, that you've been doing it for a while, and there's all these different things to look at in space. We know it's important from just space in our daily lives, let alone the cybersecurity aspects. And you heard from the great panel ahead of us talk about a lot of those things. But it's not easy. The cool part is there's great pictures of what this ecosystem looks like. That is not a great picture. I use it on purpose. It's cluttered, it's terrible, it's mostly airplanes, but at least it's blurry. That's one of the best ones I could find. We come from an aviation background, the village does, and I'll get into that in a moment. But I use this to show, even from an aviation perspective, how much is space thought about? Oh, it's that thingy up there that goes over and gives us some GPS and timing in our movies. But we know, right, this crowd that deals with space things all the time, it's much more than that. But what it does help illustrate is that it's somewhat of an afterthought, right? Think about industry. I was a chief information security officer after I left the military. That was an afterthought for a company that had been around 20 years, but they wanted to have a security program. They wanted to have their first CISO in that job, or someone in that role. there's a lot of that going on. I was really glad to hear when Scott said what he does here around Patrick and the Cape, that there's much more cybersecurity, but even he mentioned it hasn't always been that way. So it's getting more of that discussion, it's getting conferences, it's getting like-minded people together to address these issues. When I was in government, I had the privilege of working at the Pentagon, not to brag, believe me, it's not bragging, but I got to see the sausage being made, what goes on behind the scenes, and space was talked about, security was talked about, but it was hard, and it wasn't great, and it certainly wasn't smooth, but at least it was coming along. So even at that level, what's been going on and how it's slowly changing over the past 10 years from my perspective. But I still don't think it gets enough focus. We talked about within industry, how it's coming into play, how it's a part of what industry is starting to do now is all these space things are starting to happen. Okay, that's great. But again, this bad chart, it's messy, it's complex, it's multidisciplinary. There's lots of things on that chart. We are connecting faster than we are securing. And I'm totally stealing that line from Josh Corman and the work that he does, but it applies in our space and aviation sector and the things that we look at and what we all care about. So the cool part is, we'll just throw more money at this, right? This is an easy problem. We put more money, we get more resources. That always works. How we doing? Right, RSA's been around quite a while and it's still going strong because we're still throwing money and doing the business side. But that's a start. And if we throw more money at it, we can train more people. Okay, so training's the answer. No, not really. You can train the heck out of somebody. Some of us, we understand and we've seen where the training is not always all that great. And just because you have a certification doesn't mean you know what you need to know. I can tell you the theory why an airplane flies. I can promise you knowing that theory means nothing when you're actually trying to operate. So similar to things that you all are used to. So how do we get not just the interest, the attention, the investment, the time and resources to do the training? Let's find the people that want to come into this. We're here because we have this common interest, but how do we get more people into this, get them interested, then get them all the training and resources, things like that. And that's where we are trying with the Aerospace Village to bring that to light. So my own interest, how many of you have heard of the Aerospace Village before, besides some of our key volunteers? That's awesome, thank you. Half of the room, I'll take that. Clearly we got more to do for the other half of the room, so we'll up our social media efforts and advertising. But what I want to do is give you some context. We started, again, with an aviation background, so I'll take you through that and then how it's expanded and what we're doing now on the space side of things, because that is what's going to be even more interest to this crowd as we go through from there. So does anybody recall some of the incidents, some of the media reports, 2014, 2015 time period? Hey, I connected into an in-flight entertainment system and I made the engines change on a United flight and I tweeted about it, and guess who met me when I landed? So there's stories like that.
Tell them who met them when they landed.
Not their mom. some moms, son and daughters with handcuffs. So you had these reports coming out. Some of these are valid, good research into aircraft, aviation, and space systems. Some were good things, but they tended to get sensationalized when they're reported in the media. DEFCON 22, I was, my first year at the Pentagon, my good deal was we went out to DEFCON. Couldn't believe it. You're throwing me back in Las Vegas for a conference? Sounds good. But at that DEFCON was the first time that there was a chief pilot and there was a professor, and they were talking about why you cannot hack into an aircraft's in-flight entertainment system to get to the flight controls. Here's all these things. But at least it was being talked about, because it wasn't something talked about prior to that. My work at the Pentagon, I got to see what was on the government side of things, in the classified and the unclassified side. And so what was being talked about there, and it's at least being talked about and how things are going. But the point is, this was one of the first early efforts that I can recall bringing this topic up. Hey, that's not something we should talk about. Well, if we don't, it's not going to get better. 2017, one of our founders for the village, Pete Cooper, authored this report. That's where I ended up meeting him, get involved with this think tank in DC. Now we've got Thales, a business, talking about aviation cybersecurity, talking about the problems, the complexity, the need to do better. Okay, good, we're making progress. Folks may have heard of I Am the Cavalry. I mentioned Josh Corman, Bo Woods. There's several others that started this. They do a lot of work in critical infrastructure, medical devices, transportation, aviation. They, with that groundswell at their level, smart people like Bo Woods, one of our other founders, start talking about, hey, why don't we have a village at DEF CON? So we start in eventually the very first year, we're the aviation village. And space was a component of what we looked at. Airplanes, airports, air traffic control, and space. But even then, I admit, it was a bit of an afterthought, but you had a bunch of volunteers come together, unpaid, on their own time. The bottom left down there, Pen Test Partners, a UK-based company, they brought in a bunch of old aircraft gear. Old, really old, but they brought stuff, and that's awesome, because that's the first time that's being talked about. In the upper right, just a picture of what's going on. My SYNAC friends that are here, Josh, are you around? Didn't even come to our talk. He's here, but SYNAC, along with Defense Digital, ran basically a bug bounty on an F-15 maintenance system. I used to fly F-15, so I'm very interested that, hey, we're trying to fix things. That's awesome. But they ran that as part of that. In addition, we had an F-35 simulator. We had a whole bunch of other demonstrations, but the interest was there. Huge crowd. It helps when we get to have an Air Force base right nearby and the old guy in the group knows somebody. I know a guy and he happens to be the commander, like, can I bring some hackers out here? Our hackers talking to Air Force hackers. Hey, I know a guy that has an airplane to show us. So in that bottom right picture, that's Rebel on the right. And I know he's looking at Renderman and his mohawk and kilt on the Air Force base going, what the hell did I get myself into? Volunteering for this tour. But again, it's getting folks out there, getting them to interact and talk. And like I said, having the hacker side cybersecurity people talking to Air Force cyber, sitting down and literally having pizza and beer and having a conversation. So it was a great opportunity. We turned that into RSA. I make fun of RSA in this crowd, but it's a good event. It's a good business event. That's the focus. But they also tried to bring in more technical. So we've had a good relationship with them over the years. You can see the group up there in that upper left picture. Boeing joined us. They're bringing in gear. They're showing how it works. We had another, Patrick Kiley from Rapid 7, showing off his gear and his vulnerability in CAN bus and how it applied to aircraft and what was going on. And that was the first year of advertising what was happening with Hackasat. That's in the right side of that picture. Ken there in the middle doing a talk for us. I like to advertise and show off. That's on this left picture. That's Pete Cooper, one of our founders, talking to Chris Krebs and one of the Boeing engineers. So I'm like, Chris is in there, friend of ours that's been supporting us from the very start. And we appreciate that. And then, you know, what did I do last summer? I got to hang out with those two astronauts. That's the only reason that picture's there. It's just for GWIT. Then the dark times came, right? We're all going virtual. As much as that was uncool, from a village perspective, I did a talk for a group in Argentina. Like, I never would have flown down there for that. So that was pretty awesome. We ended up getting folks like Pam Melroy. Does anybody know who she is? Former shuttle astronaut, Air Force officer, shuttle astronaut. She just finished being the deputy administrator at NASA. This was before she got in that role. She's doing a webinar and eventually a podcast with us talking about programming to save weight, because if your code's too big, it costs more processing, and that's weight, and we don't have that on the shuttle. And she talked about how to get internet on the space station.
I want to interrupt and talk about James Pavur on the other side of this.
That's a good one.
Huge researcher, great guy, went to Oxford, studied, got his FUD, or PhD, I like to call it, and has done amazing work with anything and everything having to do with spacecraft. One of his talks actually pivoted over to a wonderful ship where he actually commandeered some nice text-based stuff that basically told who was on board the ship, what they were having for lunch. It was very, very cool. And my whole point about James Pavur is he's taking learning, right, using academics and his passion to turn over great things in the Aerospace Village. And he did at least 4 or 5 talks with us. Still mad respect for that human. So shout out to James Pavur.
That's the high level stuff we have, the lower entry level understanding space. All of these are on our YouTube channel, but the point is, even in the virtual times, that's how it helped us expand, right? There's clearly interest out there. This is just a sample, every logo I could pull in and find, different events we've been a part of, things you should recognize, the things that we want to be a part of. Your big DEF CON RSAs, absolutely, but we want to support and we appreciate being invited to events like this. B-sides, we're getting more and more of those that we can support as our staff grows. Blacks in Cyber, Diana Initiative out there during Hacker Summer Camp. All of those things, in addition to professional events with AIAA, Aviation ISAC, we work with Space ISAC. That's what we've been doing in the past. So again, just giving you an idea of flavor of what's happening. Those are our partners, folks that either are outright donating, but the point of showing this is when United Airlines wants us to keep doing what we're doing, wants to talk about it. Back when, remember I said 2014, 2015, nobody was talking about this. That's a great example of how the attitude is changing. And again, from a very aviation perspective. In addition to that, it's not just more of Steve's summer vacation pics, but the fact that, these are the ones I found, so I'm sorry. But in the bottom left corner, if you don't know, that's Wes Gavin. He was the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer at NASA's JPL. He came in and did a talk with us. In that upper middle, that's Dave Pekoski. He's the administrator of TSA that came and talked with us at DEF CON 2 years ago. Deneen DiFiore, she's the United Airlines CISO. And then the upper right is Jen Easterly when she came through as the CISO director. And I happened to be working for her at the time. So it was a, hey, how you doing? Remember me? Mask back on. But you know, having that kind of support, having these entities from both government and industry, they want to be involved. They want to start talking about this more and more. Not all of them, I get it, but a lot more of that, certainly more than it was from the very beginning.
Hold on, back it up. Boop, boop. I also wanted to say an education piece. We need you. We need young people into the space, and I'll get to talk a little bit more about that. But our Embry-Riddle partners that come to DEF CON every year and help us deliver great content. And Ethos Labs, letting me build and help do a satellite tomorrow. Please come see me, and we're going to do a little command injection. I'll show you how that looks on purpose. It's purposeful. And I just want to say to the young people out there, man, you are the next generation. You're going to change us, and we need you. Sorry, getting verklempt. But it's really, really important, and our partners that we have, I tell you, they're friends for life, and I'm tingling. Go look that up.
Yeah, Henry's old, I can say that. And so we need to replace him. So,
not yet.
That's the aviation beginnings. That's the initial thought. We still have that same division, but we've been very fortunate. Again, the conversation's growing. The interest is there. The willingness to engage and have these, how do I go talk to hacker conversations? One of those opportunities, and I'm going to stop yammering after I finish this, and Henry's going to talk about a second one, another couple of opportunities, is Hackasat. Show of hands, who's heard of Hackasat? Okay, pretty good crowd. All right, awesome. So for those of you who haven't heard of it, the beauty is getting to watch this happen. At our first DEF CON in 2019, I told you about Pete, one of the assistant secretaries of the Air Force at the time for acquisitions. He's there, they start talking. Hey, we should do some stuff with space. What about satellites? Why don't we launch one? Well, sir, if you'd like to launch a satellite, we'd like to help you hack on it. Sure, of course. So the Air Force, and then it was passed on to the Space Force, started Hackasat. 4-year program, $50,000 prize each of those 4 years with other prize monies and flat sat thingies given to the teams and winning teams to have this competition. To not have the Air Force, the military come into DEF CON and you know, look, there's all the feds that just rolled in with their short haircuts, but like to come in a way and be engaging, like, hey, we're not that bad. We understand who you are. You're not that bad. Let's have a relationship. Let's talk. Let's do it in a fun way. That first year, 6,000 individuals signed up. I was one of them. I probably got one challenge at best. 2,000 teams formed up. PFS was the team that won. It was an American-based team. And astronomy, you can see the list of things there. I'm not going to read it out. Those are the kinds of things, oh, I'm just going to roll in and do some hacker stuff. Okay, if you understand orbital mechanics, go crazy. Otherwise, you got to go find somebody who knows that, who can help you understand what to do and when to point that satellite in the place it needs to. So it was an all-encompassing type of knowledge. So over the 4 years, you can see the different things that occurred. Even when it was virtual, the final round top 18s had a flat sat sent to them, and they got to practice on it before they did the contest virtually. So even then in virtual times it was going. If you were at DEF CON 2023, that's when the finals occurred. Moonlighter, that was on orbit.
I'm going to stop and say, please bow your heads. Rest in peace, Moonlighter. He did not make it. That's this little guy right here. And please come see me and I'll tell you a little bit more about Moonlighter. But so beautiful that humans were allowed to do something and change how we thought about hacking. And Moonlighter is one of the reasons, in the Aerospace Corp, and everyone that helps, U.S. Space Force and everyone else is amazing. I just wanted to say rest in peace, Moonlighter.
Moonlighter is no longer with us. But when it was, you can see that's when it was being launched. That's when it was being deployed off of the ISS. And to give you some idea of what was going on, in the upper left, that is a magnificent slide with a picture of the moon, that little white dot. The first year of this contest, the challenge was, what's the code needed to have satellite X, because there was no Moonlighter orbiting at the time, point and take a picture of the moon. And the team that figured that out grabbed that crappy picture that looks like I took it with my iPhone last night. But that is outstanding that they were able to figure it out, able to develop the code, and able to even take that little picture. Now you launch Moonlighter, and in the bottom right corner, that's the picture that the team at the time that won that particular flag was able to take. A little bit different. Having something on orbit certainly helps. That's team Hackeroni. It's an Italian-based team. They're down there pictured in the bottom left. That's the size of the team they had.
That could be you.
In a future, if we ever get to have something like this again, absolutely. Some of those were live in person at DEF CON, others were in the hotel, others were supporting virtually, but that's the cross-section of talent, knowledge, and what people were doing to bring all this together. So that's Hackasat. Henry, over to you.
Oh boy, it's me. All right, let's get ready. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about Space Grand Challenge. I'm very honored to tell all of you tomorrow I will flick it on, if you will, at 9 a.m. You can register.
Website on the top.
Right at the top, or come see me in the booth. I'll be in the booth tomorrow. Very excited. So what is Space Grand Challenge? Great question out there. Thanks for asking, all the way in the back. So young people need a chance to be able to learn cybersecurity in space. And someone said it a million times, space and cyber, they're hard. Right here on the left-hand side, this picture is a picture of myself and Maddie. We bring in the Cal Poly esports team and we live stream it on Twitch. Why? Because we want to get into young people's heads. This is for middle and high school. We need to get them early starting to think about this, right? It is such an amazing thing. We get the partners in, we get people walking in off the street, we live talk with them about Space Grand Challenge. It has 10 rooms built by Cal Poly University students. The rooms are made with Unity. How many people know what Unity is? Raise your hands. Thank you very much. It's super fun. Every time we play this, it's a 7-hour day on a Saturday. As soon as we put the scores up and whoever wins, they all say, can you just turn it back on? We still want to play. That means we're doing something really good, right? And we need to get more people to share with their rents. That's short for your parents, right? Or anybody in here that has cousins or little nieces and nephews. Have them try Space Grand Challenge. We do it 3 times a year. We have a sandbox, and then we do 2 other events. The other cool thing about this is, and you could see the video playing in the background, but it's kind of showing some of the rooms. What do we do in those rooms? We try to say, by the way, a satellite has been compromised. You're the investigator, pen tester. Let's talk about policy maker. Let's do all kinds of different things and have the kids go through, or people that have never tried space and cybersecurity together. So again, all systems go. I'm very excited to be able to tell you a little bit more about this. Next slide. So here is why I still think it's really important. And if there's some Space Force people, their little mouths will drop because they'll realize what I'm showing here. This is something called ANIS Systems Toolkit. It is a real world tool that I'm having middle schools learn how to use, make simulations, and then also play the challenges. Why is this important? We're incorporating real life tools that people use on a regular basis. This challenge is really hard. You have to figure out, there are 93 satellites on this orb here, and you have to figure out which one was compromised. You get 3 reports, and you get to run the ANSYS player. It's like a player that's just showing a movie, but you get to bop around and actually try to figure out when that satellite was compromised. While you're playing the game, you get more little hints and tips and tricks to be able to get that answer. So really cool stuff. And then on the lower, I really wanted to just say, these are the other cool things that we're teaching them, real world tools. Our Cal Poly kids learn AWS, the front end, the back end, and develop the whole thing in Unity, right? And you actually use something called AppStream now, where you jump on to a browser and we give you Wireshark, all the tools that you need so you can play Space Grand Challenge for your 6 hours or 7 hours, depending on how quick you do it. Also, autopsy. We sprinkle digital forensics. And I always will never forget, I met a captain at Space Force and telling him about this, and he said, Henry, why are you using forensics in space? Okay,
Idiot.
I talked to him a little bit more about it, and then he understood. But anyway, it's really cool because Autopsy is an open source program that people can learn, understand the digital footprint you have, and be able to do forensics on phones and other things. Wireshark, really cool. I have a VintSurf deep space packet from him when he was developing the deep space network. You go through that Wireshark activity. It's awesome. These are space people doing cool space things. And all of this has to do with the Aerospace Village and why it's so important, our outreach and all the amazing things that we do to be able to get people like you. And thank you, HackSpaceCon, for having us here today. Super honored. Python, Linux, on my other one, Splunk, Map to the Nice framework, because we got to teach the young kids standards. What kind of careers do you want to do? What kind of things do you like? You like forensics, you like cybersecurity, you like encryption. What kind of things are you interested in? So we teach them about that. We're also using JPL's F-Prime, showing them a little bit about that. What does a flight control simulator or software actually look like? It's amazing stuff. And teaching them the back end and the lower end of this stuff really piques their interest. And then, of course, the last one, thanks to Jacob and some of his other friends, Cosmos out there, or OC3. So come talk to us, definitely. We're not done yet, but come talk to us, please, tomorrow at some of the booths. And we will get to, tomorrow, actually do some injection, some command injection on this. Thanks again to Tim and the Ethos Lab for sharing this with us. And doing some, what does satellite hacking look like? If you've never done it before, please come by and say hi. Okay, next slide. So, good, y'all good? Cool? Entertaining? No one's left? Okay, good. All right. Another thing that was really cool about Space Grand Challenge is we've played it now in 9 countries. El Salvador is still our favorite one that comes back every year. Middle school. They won 3 years ago. All girls, an all-girl middle school team. They dressed in pink shirts and made the Space Grand Challenge logo on themselves. They're connecting, they're collaborating, all those cool things. My new word of the day, connectedness, right? Go look that up. It's really, really important, especially when you're hacking and doing something and learning from others. We've had a lot of people play, and again, this is something that I'm just really, really proud of and happy to say that I'm gonna get to play it with you all tomorrow and flick it on, and I'm really honored to be here today. I know I've said that a couple times, but anyway, I hope all of you had a good time listening a little bit about Space Grand Challenge and letting me share CubeSat on my skull. Oh boy.
Now our favorite. Go, Henry, go.
All right, okay, so how many badge lifers in here? Paws and claws in the air, let's shoot them up. All right, we got a few of them. Okay, so what is badge life? Badge life is life, right? It's really awesome. It's making things that have challenges. It's PCB art. How many artists in the building? Look at paws and claws in the air. Look at the artists. You could be creating a badge for us at Aerospace Village. Volunteer for Aerospace Village right now. That's not really a URL, I was just saying that. But what's cool about this is we create cool things. Why? For outreach. We want to share our ideas. We want to share challenges and create beautiful art that has fun stuff to wear. And who is a blinky light fan? I mean, come on. We got blinky lights thanks to SpaceCon today, right? So I'm going to open it up with badge number 1 on the left. Spanky?
I'm even going to go back to badge number 0, the blue airplane in the upper left there. We had that as a professor at a university, at Capital Tech University in the DC area, if you know them. He designed, this is how for $50 or less, software-defined radio, antenna off of Amazon, you can pull in ADS-B and weather satellite signals. Our badge dude, Dan, who I never like to say good things about because it's more fun to tease the Navy guy, he designed it, and he took that and he said, all right, now it looks like an airplane, and it's got blinky lights. But if you hook up the antenna to the left engine, you'll pull in ADS-B signals, and you can see what's flying overhead depending on where you are, and between the antenna and your laptop. If you hook it up to the right engine, you're pulling in weather satellite, and there's a picture of whatever's going over that you can grab. That's the kind of smart people we work with. They do it for funsies. We offered this as both a kit that was handmade, Dan and I soldering away, that you could buy, or you could buy the parts and assemble it yourself if you're into soldering. That's how I learned. That's year 1. The other years are in between there, but to go back to what Henry said, badge number 1, our artistic right stuff right there in the middle with our nice little dragon spacesuit, Orville and Wilbur in there, another friend who's an artist. But it's not just the badge. There's contests and things on the back. There's a Wi-Fi button you can turn on, little challenges embedded in there. That's the kind of stuff of, it's not just we have art and we have blinky things, but it's also got other stuff, whether it's just for fun or somebody who wants to get into it and it's relatively simple and easy and every level in between.
All right, another one I'm really proud of. A little while ago, I partnered with the Aerospace Corporation. On the back is a wonderful website that I created that has about 35 challenges on there to teach young people, and the research that I went through to show what it's like to hack a satellite, how to compromise, how to protect satellites, all the basic orbital mechanics. I put a lot of work into making sure whoever got this badge also got a learning tool. And this is really cool. I'm going to give one of these away to the top winner of the Space Grand Challenge this weekend. So there's your incentive. Sorry, my battery just fell out, but it does blink. And again, come see me at the booth and talk to me a little bit more. Another thing I'm really proud of this year, last year at the Aerospace Village, we built this badge. Now, the interesting part about this badge is it's all Linux. It has the whole kernel on there, okay? That's crazy, crazy talk. Most badge lifers have never been able to put a full kernel or full Linux on here. The bezel, as you can see here, that's a satellite being blown up for some of you in the back. It plays movies. It does whatever you want. And then the main stick is this little antenna. You can sit, OMG, are you ready? At the airport and actually watch the airplane's information come in. It's an ADBS receiver and allows you to do wonderful, cool things. Also has a few puzzles on it. We're making it bigger and better this year with software. Say that again, software. And it will be available at DEF CON this year. And I know you want to add a few things that I didn't say about that.
I mean, there's a Top Gun gif on there. That's just funny. That's one good thing. But yeah, the fact that there's taking a chip, taking the GPS receiver, making it do things, and some of you may have heard Adam and Robert, who designed this, making the chip do things it wasn't designed to do, to get all the power, to get the capacity and things that Henry talked about. Tracking ADS-B, so the signal's going overhead, color coding it based on the airline, and then changing it to a cursor mode, and you can cursor over on that little radar scope and go, yeah, that's who's flying over, that's their call sign, that's their altitude and airspeed. Just things like that, interest and showing how to do that.
How cool is it to see how fast a flippant airplane is going with a badge? That's nerdy, people. Like, get on with the program. That's cool.
You want nerdy? We got nerdy.
Yeah.
So all of that is to say, things that we did from the aviation side, right? What we knew was important how we shifted, how we grew it over to the space side, what we're doing in space, the fact that we have the Jacob Oakley as one of our volunteers leading space efforts. We're developing new things. That's great. I'm not going to claim that we are single-handedly responsible for it. We are. But we contributed to that. So we've helped that. We've supported that. And like Henry said, the things that we look at, how do we keep this going? That's what matters to us. In that past 10 years, I gave you a little bit of my background. The things we've seen, the Space Information Security Analysis Center, that started in 2019. We work with them. They are continuing to grow and talk about cybersecurity threats, vulnerabilities in the space sector with industry, with government. There was a Security Policy Directive 5 that is absolutely related to space cybersecurity principles and more. So there are tons of things going on out there that are changing in government, changing in industry, and what you heard here on the panel today, that is great to see. We want to be a part of helping to support that and keep it going for the future.
I was also going to add on, we talked about Bo Woods a little while ago, and I just wanted to give him a large shout out. A long time ago at DEF CON, we actually brought 13 Cal Poly students to the biohacking village, which was one of the villages he was working with. We set up medical stuff, brought all this equipment, and we're teaching people how to do medical hacking. And when Bo started, one of the founders with Aviation Village, I just was so excited because I am a space nerd and I really appreciated that. And I just wanted to give him a shout out because it's just a great thing. And if you ever see him, he just may have a purple mohawk. He may not.
Or blue or pink.
Or blue or pink. But anyway, I just wanted to say it's really great when you work with folks and they understand universities and academia, because I think once we blend some of those things and we learn, we can all learn together. And it really does take a village. We need everyone to participate. And I'm telling you, you meet cool people like us, right? I mean,
I don't know if that's going to work.
Okay, so a couple of the things that I'm proud of is we get to go to conferences like this. We also get to do things that are spreading the love, and I like to say that, in space and in cyber. Last 2 months ago, or whenever it was, February, I was able and honored to go to CactusCon and talk about space attacks. And at Cal Poly, we wrote a paper, come talk to me about that over there. But it was really fun, and the place was packed, and so many people are interested in space and learning about it. Today, my friend Sophie over here was telling me she saw an astronaut on this campus, and he was explaining, do you know why astronauts wear orange? Well, I'm like, no, I actually don't know that. And I'm, obviously wanting to know, so she tells me, oh, the Coast Guard told them, hey, you guys wear these blue suits. When you fall into the blue ocean, we flip and can't find you. So how's about y'all wear a little bit of orange so we can find you? And that's how it happened. Who learned that today? See what I'm talking about? Thank you, Sophie. Awesome. So anyway, being able to go to these conferences, also working with Embry-Riddle, all the people that are on this list, I'm honored from Cal Poly to be here today, again, representing my university as well as trying to get more people out there with us. And at the lower bottom, this is DEF CON. That is our footprint for this year. Let me hear an OMG.
Shit.
OMG.
Thank you. What'd you say?
How many square feet is that?
11,000.
What?
And
11,000? That's
this is
bigger than
just
my house.
the layout of, so when DEF CON says, hey, can you fill up the space? And we're like, oh shit, okay, yeah, I think so. And then next thing you know, because we have partners wanting to come in, because we have talks and things, if you weren't there before, since we have a moment, I'll add in, our friends at Dark Wolf, Tyler who was up here, the drone stuff they do, there is a DJI drone broken open sitting on the table, and you walk up and they will tell you how it works and how it's secure and how it's not secure and vulnerabilities and how to do that kind of research. It's not just the gee whiz of flying a drone. We've got Lockheed Martin. They came in with a Dark Star badge last year. I'm not sure if they're going to do the same or not.
So cool.
But we have Lockheed Martin, right? We don't have Boeing this year, a lot going on, you can imagine, but CT Cube there, I don't mean to say that in such a bad way, I apologize. Spider Oak talking about drone swarm security. Intelligenesis, they use a runway lighting system to talk about industrial control system security. Our own Bricks in the Air. Jacob is building a space-themed capture the flag.
Woohoo!
We have Embry-Riddle, he is personally, so if it fails, it's directly his fault. Embry-Riddle in the upper right, we work with a lot of schools, right? Cal Poly's on there, Henry and what he's bringing, but Embry-Riddle's also, they run a student-created aviation-themed capture the flag.
Amazing.
And nobody wants to come talk to us. The students want to come up and talk to the students, so that's why we like having them there. Plus their lab right up the street in Daytona is bringing out some gear. This just gives you an idea of the things that we help coordinate. We're the spoke. I know a guy and he knows somebody and she's gonna help us do whatever, and that's the beauty of it all, so.
Awesome. Again, very honored to be here. I know I've said that. I'm just humbled. This is great. And I hope all of you come up and say hi to me and do some wonderful things with space and cyber. Aerospace Village, our motto, build, inspire, and promote. That's what we're trying to do. And let me tell you, I get verklempt, but I know I've changed a few lives, and we have changed a few lives, getting them into space, getting them excited about it. I know there's some young people in this space that came up to me already, like, what the hell is on your head? And I'm excited about that. Tomorrow
I was one of them.
Do a little bit of command injection and kind of show you what it looks like from a command line perspective. And it's done really well. It's done from a teaching standpoint, right? So you understand, you can ask questions. Well, why would you want to take over the radio? So you could use your own radio. Oh, why would you want root level? Well, so you can do anything. Pseudo. Okay, sorry, I got sidetracked. This is our village, and it's verklempt to see how many people volunteer their time and love to do it. On our page, if you go to support, this is true, you can sign up and become one of the volunteers and hang out with us. And as you know, Spanky wants you.
You're welcome to join. We're happy to talk to you afterwards. This is not a sales pitch. But absolutely, again, thank you to the Hack SpaceCon folks for inviting us, getting to be here. Some of the folks who support this support us and other things. There's other villages, so whatever it is, but of course I'm biased towards ours. Opportunities, at the end of the day, it's a great networking opportunity for you. Lots of students ask, but I want to meet Henry. And I'm like, well, I know Henry, hey, let me help you out. And you can volunteer as much or as little as you want. Companies, we like you too. We'd like to have you out there. If you've got money burning a hole in your pocket, we're happy to help you with that. But again, helping us be able to do all the things that you saw. So again, thank you very much. I'll turn it over to you to close it.
All right, is there any questions? Yes. Yeah, so the question is, when you're just learning how to do CubeSats or FlatSats, what kind of resources can you do? Where do you start? Where do you get going? So I would do a couple things. Come talk to me after, but there's a really great company called EdgeFlight. He's a local American company, and he builds CubeSats, teaches you the basics about it. You can buy a kit for very, very reasonable price, and I'm not trying to, sell this to you, but when people ask about that stuff, that's where I teach them. Also, all of our videos on Aerospace Village, we have a lot of going on with that. And then also there's some other small CubeSat ones. There's one in Europe that you can pay, I think it's $700 or $800. You could fly it up for 2 months. You get to do a science experiment on it, control it for a little bit, and it comes back down. So really cool stuff that's out there. Between you and me, a lot of the education folks out there on the planet, another thing I always suggest is look at Proves Kit. It's from Cal Poly Pomona, my friend and fellow friends, not Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, but they have one. You can buy the board and they give you all the code, and you can start to pretend, or not pretend, but actually simulate what it's like to work with the ground station and a CubeSat. So lots of cool things. Please come see me at the booth and I can give you more direct responses on that.
And I didn't list our YouTube specifically, but under our website, aerospacevillage.org, you'll see all the links between our socials, including YouTube, where all the videos and things that we get, even after the virtual times, each year at DEF CON, and anywhere we can upload things are on there.
Another question?
Other questions?
Hitting the red hat? Yeah. No problem. It's coming.
I just had, so huge Hackasat fan, participated in the last two. Do you guys have any plans to do like a digital version of that in the future? I know there's a lot of partnership with the DoD on that, but any
So
type of
they're in the works, they're in the talks. We're trying our best to get it to come back. We know what they have, the digital twins and other stuff that they did do, and we're trying to see if we can use some of that. So they're very happy to share with us, but a lot of times it has to do with governmental sharing rights and rules. But anyway, we're very excited. We are working on it, believe me, because it was so successful. And thank you for being a Moonlighter fan. Rest in peace.
Yeah, especially if we can bring back the money part of it, that would be nice. Other questions? Anything we can answer for you?
All right, I have another quick one. So I like to do this with my students. Raise your paws and claws. 5, that was a pretty good talk. I've had a good time. I didn't leave. 1 is, that was so boring. I'm over in the corner sleeping, Henry. And then the 3 was, I don't really like CubeSats. So raise your paws and claws in the air so I can see what kind of a response we did from the crowd. What kind of things did it do? A 5? Did a 4? 3? 4? Wow, I got a 4 from. All right. I'm in this scan. I don't want to lose these lovers over here. Oh, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It gives me a chance to improve myself, which I'm always trying to do. And for all the young people out there, please come see me. I want to change your life with cybersecurity and space. And we're going to do a hug.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, man. Oh.